In this video, we are going to revise Biology Paper 1, where we have multiple choices. Now, this is the 2017 for external. So let's look at the first question. So the first question, the diagram shows a guava leaf with a magnification of 2.0. Then the question is, if the length of the drawing is 8.0 centimeters, what is the length of the actual leaf? So magnification is a 2.0. Magnification is telling us how many times the object was magnified to 8.0. So the key point is, by what number can we multiply by 2 to give us 8? So the picture is, we need to have a 4, because we know that 4 times 2 will give us 8. Now we can also use the formula. So the formula is magnification is equal to size of an image divided by size of an object. Magnification we have been given, which is 2. Size of an image we have been given, so the drawing is the image, which is 8, over we are solving for size of an object, so we can solve for O by cross multiply. So 2 times O is 2O is equal to 8 over 2 over 2. Then O is equal to 2 into 8 is 4. So our answer is A. So the picture here is, whenever you are given the magnification and the distance or size of an image, for you to find the size of the actual or the size of an object, just divide the size of an image by magnification. So 8 divided by 2 will give us 4. Then let's move on to question 2. The diagram shows a plant cell. So here we have a plant cell. Now let's begin by looking at the question. So which 2 structures in this cell are not present in a red blood cell? So a red blood cell is an animal cell. Okay, so now let's look at part 1. So the 1, this is our cell membrane. Cell membrane is found in both the red blood cell and this plant cell. Then we have the second one, 2. So 2 is cell wall. Cell wall is only found in plant cell. So at least we have a picture that we are going to choose from A up to D. We need to have a multiple choice where we have a 2. So C is disqualified because we have 3 and 4. Now let's continue. Our 3 is a nucleus. Now a nucleus is found in animal cells, but in red blood cell, the red blood cell does not contain the nucleus. Why? To create a large surface area or a large space for hemoglobin. So the answer is 2 and 3. So which is, we have our B here. Question 3. What term is used to refer to a solution outside a cell whose concentration is lower than the concentration of a solution inside the living cell? So let's see if we can make a picture here. So let's take it for instance. We have the cell here. Then the question is, we have 2 solutions. There is one from the inside of the cell, then the other one from the outside of the cell. Now from the equation is, this solution, the outside solution, has a lower concentration. So let's take it here we have 5% of, let's say, salt here. Then the cell maybe may have 7%. So we are saying the concentration of the solution in the cell is higher than the solution where the cell is placed. So now, what solution or what name is given to this solution whose concentration is lower than that of the cell? So this is what we call hypo. So in science, whenever we have this prefix of hypo, hypo means below. Hyper, it means above. So hyper, it's a situation where the concentration is greater than that of the cell. Hypo, below than that of the cell. Hyso means we have the equal concentration. Maybe the cell has 7 and the solution has 7, in which now there is no osmosis process or diffusion. Then equilibrium also is giving us that we have the same concentration. So the answer here is hypotonic solution, since we are looking at lower. Then let's move on to question 4. The diagram shows the lock and key model of enzymes action. Okay, now let's analyze this action here. So we have 1, which is named 2. Then after this arrow, we have this what we call enzyme substrate complex, where these two are combined with each other. Then now let's look at this part here. So that part there is showing us that the structure 2 did not change its original shape, but structure 1 broke into 2 pieces to give us structure 3. So this means that what you need to know about enzymes does not change their shape. That's why we say enzymes does not take part. They are not involved in the chemical reaction, but they assist in speeding up the chemical reaction. So our 2 is enzyme because it did not change. Then our 1 is a substrate. So we'll go with 2 and 1. Okay, so now let's move on to question 5. Which of the following correctly shows the deficiency disease caused by lack of vitamin C, proteins, and iron in the body? So anemia no, rickets, proteins no, scurvy, iron no, kwashiorkor, vitamin C no, protein no. Now, so for vitamin C, the disease that can be caused by vitamin C is scurvy, protein, kwashiorkor, iron, anemia. So the answer there is D. Which nutrient in the diet should be increased to keep a patient healthy after suffering from malaria for a longer time? So calcium no, fat no. So for a patient who has suffered with malaria for a longer period of time, is advised to have a diet rich of iron, because during their time of sickness they tend to lose a lot of iron. Now let's move on to question 7. In plants, magnesium is an essential element for formation. So magnesium is an essential element for formation of flowers, and sometimes you may be given fruits. So from the multiple choices, our answer is flowers. Now we move on to question 8. The diagram shows the structure of rhizopas. Okay, so we have rhizoid, we have stolons, we have sporangium, we have sporangophyll. Then which labeled part releases digestive enzymes? So digestive enzymes are released by the structure known as a rhizoid, and the rhizoid is structure D. The diagram shows the internal structure of a leaf. So which part transports food nutrients? So my diagram is not that clear, but if you look at food nutrients, these are transported by a phloem. So whenever you are given a structure like this, just look at which structure is looking like a phloem. So from my diagram here, I can see that it's B, but the key point here is for those that are using the actual paper, the clear paper, make sure that you look at the phloem structure. Now let's look at question 10. An organism has the following number of teeth in the mouth. Then incisors 4, canines 8, premolars 10, and molars 12. So what is the dental formula of the organism? So the key point here is, let's begin with incisors. So the incisors, the total is 4. So this should be 2 above, 2 below. So the lower has 2 and the upper has 2. Then let's move on to canines. So the canines, we have 8. So 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. We have premolars, 10, 5 on top, 5 below. Then molars, 6 on top, 6 below. So the key point is, for a dental formula like this one, whenever you have a dental formula like this one, you just have to divide the number into 2 equal numbers. So the upper will have equal to the lower. So our answer here is A. Now the diagram shows part of the digestive tract. Which structure produces an alkaline juice needed in digestion? So A is the stomach. Then the stomach is an acidic medium. Our D is the liver. Liver produces the bile salt that helps in the emulsification. Our C is gallbladder. Gallbladder stores the bile salt produced by the liver. Then our B is the pancreas. So the pancreas produces the pancreatic juice that consists of the enzymes that completes the digestion in the small intestine. So the answer here is B. Now let's move on to question 12. Question 12, what changes causes expiration? So expiration is the removing of air out or breathing out to take place. So for diaphragm muscle, this should do relax. Then for internal intercostal muscles, so the answer should be D. The diaphragm muscle should relax. Internal intercostal muscle contract. Then the volume of the thorax should decrease. So the reason why it should decrease, it should reduce in size in order to push the air out. Now let's move on to question 13. Which of the following can help to reduce the causes of stigma to people living with HIV and AIDS? So the first one, fear, no. Myth, no. Counseling and testing. Counseling can help to reduce the causes of stigma. So the causes of stigma to people. So counseling and testing helps the one that is being counseled and being tested for. So sensitization is the key, because this one involves educating the people on how to treat people living with HIV and AIDS. Now question 14 here. What type of immunity do babies obtain from the mother through breast milk? So immunity is just the ability of the body to resist infection, or the immunity or the immune system is the system that was created for protecting us from diseases. Now we have 2 types of the immunity. There is active and passive. Then each immunity is divided into, one is artificial, the other one is active. Now whenever we look at artificial is where we look at the body. Active is where we have the body produces its own antibodies and antigens to protect against diseases. Now if you look at the artificial, we are looking at the obtaining of a certain let's say antigen or antibody from the outside. So we are looking at the baby here. The key is the baby. So the baby is getting the antibodies from the mother. This should be passive. Now since the baby is getting through the natural means, the answer is natural passive immunity. Now let's move on to question 15. In an experiment to compare water loss 4 similar leaves were treated with potassium jelly, which is Vaseline, and left on a table for 1 hour. So leaf 1 upper surface only covered, leaf 2 lower surface only covered, leaf 3 both surfaces covered, D neither surface covered. So which of these leaves will wilt the slowest? So to wilt, we are looking at like to shrink in size. So the key point is which of these leaves will lose water slowly. So it is that one that is covered, both, since the Vaseline will help to reduce the process of transpiration. So the answer is leaf 3. So which vitamin is essential for clotting of blood? So it is vitamin K. Now we move on to question 17. The diagram shows the internal view of the heart. Which blood vessel is pulmonary vein? So B is the aorta. Now aorta transports oxygenated blood to all parts of the body. Then our A is also an artery, because we can see that it is getting blood from the heart to the aorta. Then our C is pulmonary artery. Why? It is connected with the right side of the heart, and the right side of the heart consists of the deoxygenated blood, and the function of pulmonary artery transmits blood from the heart to the lungs for gaseous exchange. Then our D, this is our pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein transported oxygenated blood from the lungs back to the heart. So the answer here is D. So which substance cannot diffuse out of the blood into the dialysis fluid through the dialysis membrane in a kidney machine? So here we have the proteins. Why? The proteins are large in size, so it's hard for these to pass through a membrane. Now let's move on to question 19. A person is digging on a hot day without drinking any water. So as this person is doing a vigorous work, so a lot of energy is being consumed. As the result, there is too much water loss. Now, what effect will this have on the release of antidiuretic hormone, ADH, and the reabsorption of water in the body? So release of ADH will be high, so this will increase. Why is there an increase in the DH? So we want that the DH must help to reabsorb a lot of water. So there is an increase of ADH and increase of water reabsorption. So we have D here. Which of the following is one of the effects of overproduction of thyroxine? Overproduction is also known as hyperthyroidism. So hyperthyroidism is a condition where there is too much thyroxine, and the function of thyroxine, it increases the metabolic rate, basal metabolic rate, BMR. This is also, we can say it is a growth hormone. So this hormone is responsible for energy consumption and also for growth. Now let's look at cretinism. Is a condition in children where there is a retardation, meaning the growth is slowly. So this one deals with the hypothyroidism when there is less. Now we are looking at overproduction. So the answer is giantism. Giantism, we are looking at where we have a giant, the growth is like fast, then we have the abdominal height, so that is it. Then hyperactivity is like very active. This can be caused by maybe usage of certain drugs. Then mesodermia, This has to deal with the underproduction. Now, mesodermia we look at in older people. Then cretinism we look at in children, but these two are caused by underproduction. Now let's move on to 21. The diagram shows a reflex arc. So a reflex arc, we are looking at the action that is controlled by the spinal cord. Now let's look at the question. What are the numbered neurons called? So whenever you see this structure, this is the spinal cord, and a neuron that is found in the spinal cord is the relay. Relay is always found in the spinal cord. So at least we know that our one should be relay. So multiple choice A and B, one of these will be the answer. Now let's look at 2. 2 is showing us the arrow like this. So the and is the receptor. So it is receiving the impulses from the stimulus, then transporting or transmitting these impulses to the central nervous system, which is our spinal cord. So which neuron does this function? Which neuron transmits the electrical impulses from the receptor to the central nervous system? So this is the sensory neuron. I'm sure by now we have the answer. Then the one that is taking away from the central nervous system to the muscles, we have the motor. So the answer is A. So 1 is relay, 2 sensory, then 3 motor. Now the diagram shows a longitudinal section of the human brain. So let's look at our ARA structure. ARA is cerebellum. Now cerebellum controls the learned activities like dancing, playing musical instruments, riding a bicycle. Anything that involves balance is controlled by cerebellum. Now our Q is cerebrum. Now cerebrum controls so many activities like consciousness, memory, reasoning. So these are some of the actions that are controlled by Q. Then our P we have hypothalamus. So hypothalamus controls the pituitary gland. Also hypothalamus controls temperature, among of which we have temperature. Then our S is medulla oblongata. Now this one controls the like swallowing, heart rate. So now from there we can see that we have the answer. So the first one, heart rate, we are saying should be medulla, and medulla is S. Then reasoning Q, okay, temperature P. So the answer is D. We move on to question 23. The diagram shows bones and muscles of the forelimb. So the forelimb, we are looking at the hands. The hands. Okay. Now let's look at it. So this muscle ARA is the bicep. Then our Q is the tricep. Then our P is the joint, but this joint is known as hinge joint. Now the hinge joint is the joint that allows movement in one direction. We can see this arrow, there is only one direction, but here the connection of the humerus with the scapula and the clavicle. Here we have the ball and socket joint here. Now ball and socket joint allows movement in many directions. Now let's look at the question. Which of the following correctly identifies joint P, and what happens to the muscle Q and R when the arm is straightened? So here we have a bent arm. So what happens if we are to straighten? So if we are to straighten, it will come in this direction. So here we can see that this party in this direction, the way it is, muscle R has contracted, or it is contracting. Then Q is relaxing. So if the opposite happens, if this hand were to be straightened, then our R should do relax. To relax, we are looking at like pulling it. Then to contract, we are saying like becoming closer. So we know that if we straighten the hand, you can wherever you are, as long as wherever you are, you can try to do this as an experiment. So it will make sense. So try to straighten the hand. You feel the bicep as like pushing. Then you feel the tricep behind like coming closer. So that is the contraction. So the joint P, we know that it's hinging. Then our muscle Q will contract. Then muscle R will relax. So our answer is C. Now let's move on to 24. The diagram shows plant shoot growing toward a stimulus. So the stimulus here is we have sunlight. So what type of tropic response is illustrated in the diagram? So here we know that the response of plants to light is phototropism. Now we know that we are dealing with the shoot system going there, so it's positive phototropism. We move on to question 25. So the diagram shows a longitudinal section of a seed. So from this seed, we know that the outer part is testa. From the testa, we have this one is the plumule. Plumule is the structure that changes into a shoot system. Then our 2 is radicle. Then radicle changes into a root system. We have the cotyledon. Cotyledon stores the nutrients needed by the embryo. Then we have here, somewhere here, micropyle, where the water enters the seed. So what are the numbered parts? We've answered already. So our A, cotyledon, or B, plumule. Yes, so our answer is plumule. 1 is plumule, 2 is radical. Then 26, what type of asexual reproduction occurs in rhizopus? So rhizopus, from the multiple choices, binary fission, no. Budding, no. Fragmentation, no. So it's spore formation, because a rhizopus produces spores. Identify the type of natural vegetative propagation illustrated by each of the following diagrams. So we have X here, we can see that we have tubers. Then our Y, so these are tubers. Then we have a rhizome here. Then we have, this is like an onion. So an onion is a bulb. So tuber, rhizome, bulb, our answer is B. Then we move on to question 28. Which feature in the flower below shows that it is a wind pollinated? So wind pollinated have, let's look at lobed stigma, long filaments, presence of petals, short filaments. So here we are supposed to have long filaments. The diagram shows 4 different fruits. Which 2 fruits are dispersed by animals? So this, if you look at seed dispersal, we are looking at the process of ways by which seeds are scattered over a wide area. So for 1, this is a self mechanism. So self mechanism. Then 2, this is a tomato. We know that a tomato is dispersed by human being. So tomato 1, it is an animal. Then for 3 here we are dealing with a sycamore. A sycamore is dispersed by a wind. Then 4, we can see the hooks here. So the hooks here can stick on the fur of, let's say, an animal, or maybe clothes of a person. So 2 and 4 are dispersed by animals. 2 and 4. So we have hooks here. Which of the following correctly states the functions of the corpus gland, prostate gland, and seminal vesicles in a male reproductive system? So the corpus gland provides, as we say, mucus. So this will just say lubrication. Then the prostate gland produces an enzyme that activates the sperm. Then seminal vesicles provide nutrients to the sperm cell. So the answer is A. 31. The diagram below shows part of a human female reproductive system after copulation. So after copulation, we are looking at after sexual intercourse here. Then we have ovary. So ovary, step 1 here, we are able to see that the egg, the mature egg, is being ejected from the ovary. So this process is known as ovulation. So the release of a mature egg from an ovary is what we call ovulation. Then our 2. This 2 is fallopian tube. What happens in the fallopian tube? Here we have fertilization. So fertilization mostly occurs in the ampulla of the fallopian tube. Then we have the structure 3 here. So the structure 3, the process 3 is occurring in structure 3. Structure 3, we are looking at the uterus, and the lining of the uterus in connection with the process 3 is what we call endometrium. Now we have myometrium, pericardium. Now our key point is what process occurs in the uterus lining, which is the endometrium. So here we have what we call implantation. So implantation is the process by which now a fertilized egg attaches itself to the lining of the mother by the process known as implantation. So let's go to now multiple choices. What processes are taking place at point 1, 2, and 3? So 1 is ovulation, so C or D. 2 is fertilization. 3 is implantation. So the answer is C. Vasectomy is one of the methods of pregnancy, preventing pregnancy. Which structure in the male reproductive system is cut during vasectomy? So vasectomy, number 1, is an operation that is permanent and it is done in men. So here it is the process that involves they cut the sperm duct, then they tie it. The function of the sperm duct here is it transports sperms during ejaculation. So if this is done, then the person that has underwent this will never release. So let's move on to question 23. Which statement correctly describes events which takes place during interphase of mitosis? So mitosis, we are looking at epimat. Now epimat is a mnemonic that can assist you in remembering how these stages are arranged, the order. So epimat, the I for interphase, P prophase, M metaphase, A anaphase, T phalophase. So the first stage of mitosis is the interphase. Now the interphase tells us it is the first stage where now the cell gets all the nutrients that it needs for it to start undergoing cell division. So from the first question A, chromosomes start to become shorter and thicker. So this is our answer here, because this is what happens at the first stage. So at the first stage, we are not looking, the cell division has not yet started. Here, there's just that preparation. The cell starts to prepare itself, whereby it gets all the nutrients that it wants. Then the chromosome here will just coil, become shorter and thicker. So in preparation for now the actual cell division. Then let's look at question 34. In horses, red hair is dominant over brown hair. So a breeder crosses a number of heterozygous red horses. Now, for the word heterozygous here, it means we are going to have a capital letter and a small letter. Now, since we are not given the letters to use, we are going to make our own letters. So let's use the capital letter R will be used for dominant, then small letter R for recessive. Then R for red hair, small letter R for brown hair. Now, since we are looking at heterozygous, so we are going to have capital letter and small letter, then another capital letter and small letter. So let's cross here. So here we can see that we have red pure. Here we have heterozygous. Here we have so heterozygous. Then here we have small letter RR. Now, what is the question? What percentage of the offspring will be red hair? So, for us to have red hair, we are interested in this where we have the small letters. Why? The recessive can only express itself when it is in a homozygous situation. For this one, RR, this one is so the question is we are looking for red hair, okay? Not brown hair, sorry. So red, this is pure red hair. Then this is heterozygous, but it's still red hair. So we can see that this is pure red hair, heterozygous still red, heterozygous still red. So we can see that we have 3 chances of getting red hair. So it's 3 over 4 times 100%. So if we do mathematics, 4 here is 1, 4 here is 25, 25 times 3, so there is a 75% chance for a breeder to have a horse with red hair. So the answer is C here. Now we go to 35. Which of the following diseases is caused by chromosome mutation? So chromosome mutation is a condition where we have 47. There is an extra chromosome because the normal number of chromosomes in a human being is 46. So the answer here is Down syndrome. The diagram below shows an experiment set up to investigate one of the components of the soil. The water level in the U-shaped tube moves up toward P. So the water is moving this direction. Then what component of soil is being investigated in this experiment? So here we are looking at so the water is being put toward P. So here we are looking at moisture. So it's like this normal cell is absorbing water. So as the water is being absorbed, this water here will be put toward P. The diagram here shows feeding relationships of organisms in an ecosystem. So we have okay, so now which organism in the food web are herbivores? So herbivores are organisms or animals that feeds on plants only. Then carnivores on animals, omnivores on both plants and animals. So let's look at multiple choice number A. Impala, yes. Zebra, yes. Giraffe, yes. Elephant, yes. So the answer is A. For B, we know that leopard feeds on animals. For C, we know that leopard and cheetah feeds on animals. For D, lion, leopard and cheetah feeds on animals. So the answer is A. Then let's move on to question 38. The diagram shows part of the nitrogen cycle, at which point are nitrifying bacteria involved. So nitrifying bacteria are microorganisms that are found mostly in the soil, and their role is to convert nitrogen or ammonia into nitrate by the process known as nitrification. So the answer is C, because we can see the conversion from ammonia to nitrate. Then what changes in the concentration of oxygen, numbers of fish and number of bacteria would occur when sewage is discharged into a river? So here we are looking at eutrophication. So concentration of oxygen will decrease, bacteria will increase because of the sewage, then the number of fish will decrease. So here concentration of oxygen decreases, bacteria increases, then fish will decrease. Why? There is no oxygen for fish to survive. Then the last one, which of the following human activities help increase biodiversity of organisms? So biodiversity is defined as a variety of life. So the activity that can contribute is afforestation, where you plant more trees. So this is how we can answer questions from a biology paper or no paper. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.